The Rings of Power TV show does not understand the character of Sauron. Instead of the book version, they give us a confused, misunderstood character where the showrunners literally said they wanted him to be like Walter White from Breaking Bad. Furthermore, having an odd fanfiction relationship with Galadriel for some reason. This whole thing feels like a bad teen parody, and I want to contrast it with what actually made Sauron a great villain in the Lord of the Rings books. Furthermore, I want to go over his motivation and character a bit to point out where the TV show Rings of Power gets everything wrong about this character.
Give me the meat, and give it to me raw.
Sauron is the main antagonist in the Lord of the Rings books. He forged the One Ring and uses its powers to rule Mordor and wants to conquer all of Middle-earth. He has been called the Lord of Gifts and uses cunning ways to dominate those around him. He lost his ability to shapeshift at the end of the Second Age, and now he only appears as an all-seeing eye in spiritual form. Before the creation of Middle-earth, the creator Eri Iluvatar made many angelic spirits called the Anor. The highest was the Valar, who Melkor, the original Dark Lord, did belong to. The Maiar were the lesser of the Anors, and they served the Valar. This is the group where Sauron, the 5 wizards, and the other fallen Maiar, who are the Belrogs, do come from. The Valar Melkor, who would later be known as Morgoth, would rebel against the creator, breaking the cosmic music that Iluvatar had used in the world's creation. Sauron was later drawn in by the power of Melkor and became the chief lieutenant of the first Dark Lord, Morgoth. The Valar made war against Melkor and eventually captured him, but Sauron would escape and then would eventually become the villain that we know in the Lord of the Rings books. In the books, his appearance is never described in complete detail. We are never directly in his presence and don't hear him speak at any point. We only see his influence through his servants. Like in Edgeless Darkness, he simply corrupts. In a way, Sauron can be thought of as a corrupting force of nature or power itself, which is the same power the One Ring uses to corrupt others. According to Tolkien, Sauron came as close to absolute evil as one could. He also explained that like all tyrants, Sauron had started out with good intentions but was corrupted by power, and that he went further than any human tyrant in pride and a lust for domination. Furthermore, what exactly did he want and what motivated him? Like Melkor, he wanted power, but for different reasons. Melkor wanted to create and be a god. After learning he could not do this, he lashed out and wanted to destroy everything in complete nihilism. Sauron admired his power and his efficient way in which he conquered and destroyed. However, Sauron did not want to just destroy everything. He actually started out wanting to do his version of what he thought was good, which was to create a world of complete order. Sauron hated disorder and insufficiency. He had a vision of a grand project of order that would take precedence over the people of whom it was supposed to benefit. This goal of order drove him towards more power and dominance until lust for power outgrew everything else and he became completely lost to it. If he had his way for Middle-earth, it would become a mega project for him. He would view it more as a machine to tinker with and to make it more orderly, having no regard for the actual people that live in it. No doubt he would strip the resources, beauty, and all the things he saw as not orderly. Life would be endless work and torment to create what he viewed as perfection.
The old world will burn in the fires of industry. The forests will fall. A new order will rise. We will drive the machine of war with...
Although Tolkien hated stories that were used as analogies for real life, aspects of his views on life did make it into the books. Sauron does represent the worst aspects of the Industrial Revolution, which Tolkien viewed very negatively. People crowded into dirty factories surrounded by dull urban concrete jungles, which was a reality for many people in the early days of the Industrial Revolution. Mordor and Isengard represent this. Desolate, abused lands with roads, orderly buildings, and factories creating all sorts of weapons and machines of steel, all in the service of the greed of Sauron. As well, you can see Sauron to a certain degree represents many of the extreme social movements of the 20th century. It's not hard to draw a parallel with the obsession of creating a perfect and orderly society with fascism, communism, or similar movements. The people of these movements often think of themselves as the good guys and that they are simply just creating a more perfect society. There is no doubt that Sauron started out having similar views of himself and actually thought he was doing good. However, over time his will to dominate became stronger and stronger until it's all that he had left. So take these social movements and the worst aspects of the Industrial Revolution, and you have what Sauron represents. Any good intentions that he may have had in his early days are completely lost by the time that we get to the events of the Rings of Power TV show, and he has been fully corrupted at this point. He would have an iron will to dominate and not be the wishy-washy version that we see in the TV show. Furthermore, on a side note, in contrast to Sauron, the Hobbits and Tom Bombadil represent the opposite of power and domination. They don't worry about the things of the world, and they simply just live in the moment and enjoy nature and peace. They seek for no dominance or control, and therefore they want for nothing. And they are a great contrast for us to draw from in understanding the type of lifestyle that Tolkien promoted. The Rings of Power has taken one of the best villains of all time and turned him into a poor fan fiction. Amazon represents everything that Tolkien hated. Large, powerful entities that only take and abuse anything that they touch. In the words of Tolkien, evil is not able to create anything new. It can only distort and destroy what has been invented or made by the forces of good. It really is a shame what this show has done to its characters, especially Sauron, but what do you think? Please let me know, and thanks for watching.